So what we are going to look at it today session, we will take a look at how to connect to SQL Server. Okay, we will be taking a look at this one. It's being launched, the Power BI. In the meanwhile, I will just start the SSMS, type SSMS and click on the Microsoft SQL. I believe all of you have installed the SQL Server Management Studio and the SQL Server. And please watch my video religiously and literally go by whatever the instructions I have given there. Even if you don't follow the proper sequence, it will cause confusion. Literally go by the instructions, whatever I have given in that video, okay? Yes, the Power BI tool got launched. Next one is, let's wait for a few more minutes for the SSMS to get launched. In the real world scenario, you will get data from different sources. For that reason, we are exploring as many different data sources as possible to connect from Power BI desktop. Some customers, they'll be using the data in the CSV format, and in some cases, the customers, they may be using the combination of CSV files, Excel files, and SQL Server Management Studio. SQL Server, okay? And in the case of analytics, most of the customers already, they have set up the data warehouse. The data warehouse is available either in your SQL Server, or it is available in Oracle or some database system, okay, database software. Here already I loaded so many things. Let me open another report. As part of this training program itself, if you learn how to connect to different types of sources, in some cases, the data will be available in OneDrive. And some cases, they'll ask you to pull the data from GitHub. Instead of downloading the data from GitHub and load it here, you can directly connect to GitHub and then pull the data. We'll close this welcome screen, and the next one is it's taking time. Let's wait for a few more seconds, okay? It's SMS. Though you don't see any loading icon, or if you don't see it here at the bottom, that doesn't mean it is not loading it. You need to wait for some time, okay? So for the time being, what I will do is I'll just click on the get data. Here you will find the SQL Server. Alternatively, you can click on the icon here, SQL Server, to connect to SQL Server. I'm going to click on it here. It will ask your SQL Server name and then the database name. The database name can be optional. Okay, you don't have to enter the database name, but it is always good if you specify the database name along with the server, though the database name is not mandatory. One second. So this is my SQL Server. I just hit the connect button. Using SSMS, I'm connecting to my this SQL Server, SQL Express 0, whatever you see. We need to specify this SQL Server name in your Power BI desktop to connect to this server database. Yeah, now it got connected to my SQL Server. My SQL Server name is, in this case, SQL Express 03, localhost /. This is what my SQL Server. In this SQL Server, I have already created a database here. Anyhow, since you people are new one, I just click on the database and I'll show you how to create a database. Right click on it, new database. Click on the new database. I'm going to create a new database. So here it asks about the database. Now the window got launched. This is where we need to specify the database name. I just say simply demo. All you need to do is just specify the database name here and then hit this OK button. Don't click on add and all. Okay, simply hit OK and wait for a few seconds. In a matter of seconds, the database will get created. Look here, the demo database is now ready. So this is your SQL server. A single SQL server, you can have more than one database. Can you see it here? And if you expand this database, demo database here, you can see all these different objects that are available. In this database, what are the tables are there? If you want to see it, to click on it. Currently, there are no tables are there because we are yet to create the table. We just create the database. We have not yet created the tables. Okay, we need to create the table in this database. Okay, what I will do is I just right click on this and instead of creating the database using create script, I just right click on the database icon because in this database, I want to load the data and then task, go to the task and then you click on the import data. I'll just show you here once again. Keep the cursor over here on top of the database or right click on it. You'll find something called task. And when you keep the cursor over, you will see this is your context menu. Here at the bottom, you can see import data. Click on the import data. What we are doing is we are loading the data from an Excel file into SQL Server. For that, we need to tell which source that you wanted to use it and where you wanted to load it. So I'm going to tell explicitly Microsoft Excel. And then I need to select the file path that is there in my, because the file, Excel file is available in my laptop. So here I just say, this is dim customer. Yeah, I just hit open. Look here, along with the file, the path also automatically picked up, and then the corresponding Excel version is also displaying here. Next one, we need to tell where this Excel data should get loaded, the destination. I'm going to hit the next button. And then look here, you can see the choose the destination. And in this drop down, you click on it and scroll down towards the end, till the end. Okay, this SQL Server native client. And here the destination, this is the client. No, so this is kind of your connect string. Okay, you need to select this one. It's kind of a driver. Using this driver, you are going to load the data into SQL Server. My source is Excel, and I'm going to load an Excel server. But the Excel SQL Server, which database? Demo database. Can you see it here? The demo database here. So this is what your server name. This is what your database name. And I'm going to hit the next button. It's something like if you tell your street name, that is not enough. You need to give your door number, isn't it? So in which street, which door number? Something like SQL Server. Here, SQL Server name, and then the database name. And then hit next button. And then you will find the sheet one here because we are loading an Excel data. When you click on the preview, we can see the data here. Fine, good. And I'm going to hit the next button. And again, I'm going to, this time I'm going to hit the finish button. One more time you do it. 6 rows got loaded. Very good. Okay. So now I just come back to my SSMS and the demo database. And if I expand the file tables, nothing is there. You need to refresh it by clicking on this. You need to refresh it. This is the one you have to do it. Okay. Look here, demo sheet one. This is nothing but the demo customer, dim customer, sorry. Right click on it, rename it with proper name. Okay, here I just say dim customer. Press enter. We are done. Keep the cursor over here, right click on it, select top 1000 rows. So now what we did, we have loaded the data from an Excel file called dim customer into the SQL server database called demo. Okay, in that we loaded this table. Now we want to see the data. Right click the cursor over, right click on it, select top 1000 rows. In this case, it generates the SQL query automatically. You don't have to write the SQL query. Look here, the query got generated automatically. Just when you point and click on it, the query gets generated. And at the bottom, you can see that the data set. So these are the 6 records are there in the customer table. This is very simple, isn't it? Now I just go back to Power BI desktop. Now the situation is, you wanted to connect to the SQL Server database. Fine. Which database? The newly created database called demo. In that database, which table? You need to tell it everything explicitly. And here what I do is I'll click on the connect database engine. Once again, I just copy this one, the server name, and I'm going to click on cancel. When I come back here, I just paste this here. And then here, I'm going to specify the database name. What is my database name? Demo. It is optional, but still it is good. Otherwise, it will open all the databases. And if you notice here, there are 2 connectivity modes are there. The import connectivity mode, direct query connectivity mode. Apart from this, we have something called advanced options here. And here, either you can connect to the server and then connect to this database and select the table. Instead, you can fire the query itself. That we will see it little later. And at this moment, we will connect to this server. We'll connect to this database, which is available in this server. Okay. And using import connectivity mode, the default connectivity mode is import. Please remember this interview question. I'm going to hit OK button. It will take some time to connect. Yeah, it got open. Okay. And I don't know, 2 ways to use sample data. You load sample data your own. Okay, 2 ways to use this. And the new version they've given this one. Okay. Look here, it has opened the navigator pane. I just clicked on the SQL Server icon here. It was asking me the server name and the database name, and I clicked on the load button. Okay, but I have the default connectivity mode was import. I did not change that, and now it got open. Okay, it got connected to the SQL Server, and then with into this database. Okay, in this database we have created only one table because just now we created a demo table database. In that we have created only one table by loading the data from my Excel file into this table. Fine, good. So this is the data, everything is available. Now it is a table, dim customer is a table. I'm going to hit the load button now. This table, where it is available, SQL Server. If I hit the load button, this table data will get loaded locally into my Power BI desktop because we have used the import connectivity mode. Please remember this. Six rows got loaded. Where it got loaded? Into my Power BI desktop itself. The entire 6 rows got down. It's kind of a downloading. It got downloaded here. And then on the right corner, when you see here, you will find the data pane. Just under the data pane, you will find the dim customer here. And if you click on the right, this icon here, will get expanded, and then you can see all the columns that belongs to this table here. You can see the table name, column names. Now I want to see the data. Where should I see that? You just click on this data view. It will show you all the columns with the data set in this data view. Currently, we are in this data view. And if you want to switch to the report view, click on this icon. So these icons will help you to switch from one view to another view. When you click on this, the model view. So only one table got loaded here. And then you can see that, it's something like Excel kind of data. We are done. It is very simple. Next, I just, the same thing. I'm going to connect the SQL Server once again. This time, I'm going to use the sales fact table. Sales fact table is not there here. What I am going to do is the same process. Okay, again, I don't want to repeat it in the interest of time. Okay, I will repeat it. Let you people keep the cursor, right click on it, task, and import data. And here you need to select the Microsoft Excel, and then go click on the browse, and here salesfact.xls, and open it. And next, sorry, here you need to specify the last one. Okay, this is the driver. Okay, and demo DB. And if you want the data, Excel data, to be loaded in other database, click on here. Okay, you have different databases. No, I wanted to load this file into this database. Fine. Next, here it shows 2 sheets are there in this Excel file, and we will see, in each sheet what data is there. Yes, if I load this sheet data, that is enough for me. I don't need this one. Okay, I just selected it over here, and hit the next button, finish. Look here, 92 rows got loaded into my where SQL Server, and but the table is not visible. Instead of table name, it will show the sheet name. We need to rename it. Look here, the sheet name was NC Sales in that file. I'm going to rename it as Sales Fact. But in reality, the fact table will have huge volume of data in it. Okay, compared to dimension table, the fact table will have huge volume of data. We will right click on it and select all those windows. If the table have huge volume of the data, let's assume that sales fact have huge volume of the data. So you might be asking this, where can I see how many number of rows got loaded? At the right bottom, you can you see it? 92 rows got loaded. Now this table, we need to access it from Power BI desktop. This time, what I am going to do is, I'm going to use the direct query connectivity mode. Okay, and here demo. Instead of the default connectivity mode import, I'm going to select direct query mode. I'm going to hit OK. It'll take for a while. And importantly, the fact tables will have huge, how much? Maybe 100 million records. There are some cases 500 million records, or 2 gigabits or something like that. Okay, and here I wanted to load this sales fact table. Sorry, I did not select. Did I select? Okay, I think I selected direct only. Hit the load button. My God, I loaded it here instead of loading another file. That's why it will cause confusions. 1 second, I'll just close this one. Okay, this is where I want to load. So sorry. I mistakenly hit the import. I just want to use the direct connectivity mode. I just select this one once again. This time I'm going to select the direct query, hit OK. I want to load the sales. Already I have loaded the customer dimension table with import connectivity mode. This time I have selected the sales fact table to load the data in direct connectivity mode. I'm going to hit the load button and let's wait for some time. Very good. The sales fact table, the metadata of this sales fact table got loaded. What do you mean by metadata? Only the structure, the cell skeleton. Okay. And when you expand this, you can see the columns that belongs to this table. And when you click on the data view, and if you select the sales fact, you will not see the data. Why? Because we have used the direct query connectivity mode. In the case of direct query connectivity mode, the data will not get loaded locally into your Power BI desktop. Instead, the data will reside wherever it is. Okay. And okay, in that case, how can I query the data? For that, what it does is it will simply load the table name and then the column name. Along with that, the relationship details also. That we'll see it later. Okay. In this case, only the thing. It's kind of a menu. It's kind of a menu. Like, let's say you have the food delivery app like Swiggy. And in the Swiggy, you see the menu, isn't it? You see the menu. When you order it, what will happen? The order will be sent to the hotel via the food app, food delivery app. So in that case, what will happen? The hotel will have the hotel in they have big kitchen and many people are there. They cook the food, whatever the order raised it, and then they deliver it via Swiggy. So here the same principle almost. Your menu, and if you drag and drop any column here, for example, if I go to my report view, report canvas view, I'm going to select the visual. What is visual? This is my column chart. And here I just move this location key. Sorry, no, not the customer. Here is the customer key. Yeah, customer ID. I just put the customer ID here. And then the sales amount, I will drop it here. So you can see that which customers, who is the top purchasing customer. So C02 and C06. Okay. Yeah, we got it. But the moment when I drag and drop the customer ID and then the sales amount from the sales fact table, what is happening is it sends a request to your SQL server. So this is how it is happening. Please concentrate. This is your Power BI. Okay. And here you created this chart. Okay. You have created this chart. For this chart, what happens is since that for this chart, the data comes from your SQL server. The source is SQL server. Okay. And what is happening is the Power BI will send a request, via this one. Okay. And send a request in the form of SQL query. And then the SQL server will return the data to your visual. Okay. So actually the Power BI, but this data is available. This data gets, will be sent to your visual. Okay. So in your Power BI desktop, you have visual like this. And in the case of direct connect mode, when you use the columns from this, the table which you have connected with the direct query mode, it generates a SQL query and then the query will be sent to the SQL. The query gets executed. The output of the query will be sent to your visual. Okay. But in the case of import, if you use the import table in your visual, since the data is available locally, it will not send the request to SQL Server at all. So now you understood with this simple example how to connect to SQL Server. Fine. Next one is, I'm going to click on the SQL Server again. And I just paste the thing here and then demo DB. Sorry, demo database. This time I'm going to simply use the import and I hit OK. Okay. Just give me a second. Sorry, there is a problem here. Query one, query content that cannot be used for direct query. Okay. Since I've used that one, okay, what I will do is I'll just discard this. Just give me a second. If somebody's discarding. So in this case, what happened? It is throwing error because I have used one query, right? So I have used, see, in this case, one table is on import. We have used the import connectivity mode to load this table. This one we have used the direct connectivity mode. Okay, and I fired the query there. So in that case, it is throwing an error. Let us redo the same thing. Okay, this time I'm going to keep the direct query, and I just select this query once again, and then I will just put it here and hit OK. Okay, I'm going to hit the load button. Content that cannot be used for OK. It has some transformation. There is a limitation with the direct query. Okay, and I will do one thing. I'll just discard this one. That query was not working here because of some transformation issues. And I will explain with that one, don't worry. Okay, in this case, I will just select this table. And see, currently I'm in the model view. Okay, I selected this fact table. And then I just scroll down. And in the property, when in your case, the properties will not get displayed. You need to click on this one. The properties pane will get expanded. And then if you scroll down here, and you will find at the end advanced, you select it here. And then here you can connect the, convert this one from direct query to import mode. Okay. I'm going to hit OK now. The blue line tells us it was a direct, now I converted the direct connectivity mode to import mode. This is possible. For example, the DIM customer, we have loaded with import connectivity mode, whereas the sales fact table, we have loaded with direct connectivity mode. If you load any table with direct connectivity mode, you can convert it to import mode later point in time. That is possible. But the opposite is not possible. The import connectivity mode, you cannot convert it back to direct query mode. Okay, fine. I just got the report view. Once again, we will give it a try. I'm going to hit the SQL Server. Advanced thing here. Yes, Sumati, wait. It will take some time. I'm going to hit the load button. Now there are no errors. It is working fine. Query one got loaded. This time, did I load any table? Did I load any table? Can you all type it in the chat window? Yes, Sanjana. No, right? I did not load any table. Yes, Jamal. I did not load any table. Correct, right? So yeah. So what I did, I just clicked on this one, and then in this one, yes, you're correct. Yeah. So here I just pasted the query. Okay, pasted the query. So initially, I started with simulating an error. So what error? Because I have joined. See, joining the tables that are in two different connected mode, that is fine. But the problem is in direct query mode, it is not working, this query, okay, because of some limitations, a group by or something, it is not working here. So to overcome that, what I did, I just converted this one as import connectivity mode. Import connect mode. Earlier, I loaded the sales fact table with direct query mode. And then what I did, I just switched from direct query to import connectivity mode. And then when I tried the same query, it was working correctly. So what was the difference? Why it is working correctly with the import connectivity mode, the SQL query? Because because of the limitations, you cannot use group by in direct connectivity mode. Once you load the table in direct connectivity mode, you cannot use group by, or you cannot perform any complex thing, okay? Data transformation. So what I did, I just used the import connectivity mode. We will discuss about the performance related issues later point on, because it's all advanced topics. That time I'll explain you how to deal with this kind of issues, okay? But this is a limitations with direct connectivity mode, we cannot do that. But how do we deal with this better? You can create a stored procedure in your SQL server itself, and you simply call the stored procedure here. That's all, okay? But to fire a query, you need to make sure that whatever the tables that you use it here, that should be there here. If you don't have the table here, it will not work. For example, if I just go here and then delete the fact table, let us see what is happening. If I select, I am going to click on let's say I switch over to my report view. Currently we are in model view. I want to go to the report view. And here I just select the SQL server. The database name is demo and then import. In this case, what happens is it will directly connect to my SQL server. Directly connects to my SQL. The query will be sent directly to SQL server. The output of that one will be sent back to your Power BI desktop. But if I click on it, let's see what happens. I can see still the output. And if I click on load, it will load the query. Yes, it is working now. In this case, you don't even have to load the table. The query itself considered as a table. Look here. But usually what we do is we'll load the table instead of using the query itself. We load the table because the table will have all the necessary columns in it. But when I load the table here in direct connectivity mode, it is not working when I fire the query, because with the direct query mode, you cannot do group by. Okay. Hence, you need to convert the import mode, but in practically it is not possible. It is not the recommended. It is possible, but it is not the recommended one. See, I just quickly tell you. If the table size is small, then you can go for import. Small or moderate, import connectivity mode. Okay. If the table size is huge, okay, let's say you have 50 million records, 50 plus million records are there, then better you can go for direct query mode, direct query connectivity mode. If the volume of it is huge, then you can go for direct query. If the volume of it is less or moderate, then you can go for import. Okay. Another thing is those data which doesn't those table data that doesn't undergo frequent changes, you can use the import connected mode. Those tables that undergoes changes infrequently, which means it is not happening frequently, and also the volume of the data is less or moderate, then you can use import connected mode. In the case of direct query mode, if the volume of the table is very huge, then use this one. But when I use this, what is happening? That issue is coming up. right? So now what is the advantage of this query? Here, look here, I just removed the table itself because I have to connect to that table with direct connectivity mode. Though import is possible, that is the best option. Which one? The direct query connectivity mode. But I did not prefer the table, importing the table here. Okay. Instead, what I'm doing is I'm using select query. But in this case, what I did, I have used the, look here, the query tool will display. I have used the import connectivity mode, right? To connect, look here. In here, I'll summarize. So I'm talking about the advanced part. Hence, it will be a little bit confusing. Demo, I'm going to use direct query. This time I'll just select this query here. Okay, I just put this query here and then I'm going to hit OK now. I'll lower. Then that cannot be. Look here, because I have used the direct query mode. Two scenarios here. What are the scenarios? First scenarios, I have loaded. He said, look here, I'll write it here. In scenario one, I have loaded the table, customer dimension table with customer dimension. Okay. This is customer dimension. This is the naming convention. We use it in real-time scenario. Okay. Don't say, I'm telling wrong name. This is customer dimension. This is how you need to tell. The naming convention is dim customer. Okay. And I have used the import connectivity mode. Second one is direct connectivity mode, direct query connectivity mode that I used it for sales fact table. It was working fine, but in scenario 2, what I did, I've used the query. Instead of loading the table, I've used the query, but I left these two tables as it is. And then I used a query wherein I have combined these two tables data, dim customer and sales fact, where here in this query. When I combined it and with the group by and all, right, it was throwing an error. Throwing error due to limitations with direct query mode. Direct query mode, because the sales fact table I loaded with which connectivity mode? Direct query. Yes, you are correct, Sumati, right? We have loaded the sales fact table with the direct query connectivity mode. Okay. So in this case, the query, we have joined these two tables. This table is fine, but this table was a direct query connectivity mode. Okay. So what happens is, in this case, in the case of direct query, you cannot perform group by and all. Okay. It is throwing an error. Okay. And what I did, I just removed the table. Right here, I removed the table, removed sales fact table. And then I used the query. I fired the same query I have fired. Okay. In that case, I have used the import connectivity mode. It was working fine. Even though the table, sales fact table was not present, still the query works because the query gets executed at the source system. You don't need to, have this table physically, in your Power BI desktop, whether it is a direct query or import, that is not at all required. First of all, this table's presence is not at all required in your Power BI desktop when you use a query. But the caveat here is you need to use the import connectivity mode for your query. Okay. Only then it will work. Why? Because you cannot do complex join. According to direct query, it's a complex join. You cannot use group by and all, because of which it's throwing an error. So what I did in that case, I just use the import connect mode. I did not use a direct query mode. See, one is the table I loaded. This is the first step, right? Step one. In step one, scenario 1, we tested it. We just loaded it, it was working fine. And that demo part was over. We can have the mix of import as well as a direct query mode tables in your report file. That is possible. Number 2, in step 2, step 1, this was through. Okay. And step 2, I've used the query. It failed because this query failed. The query got failed. Why? Because this table was a direct query connect mode, which one? The sales fact table. Hence it failed. Why it failed? Because in the query, we are using the group by or so. Okay, because of the limitations, it was not working. And scenario 2, what I did, I just removed the table, removed the sales fact table, number 1. Okay, and then what I did, I fired the query, but I fired the query. Again, it failed with the direct query mode. Direct query mode. So when you fire a query also, you can specify the connectivity mode. Without the table, even though this table is not there, that doesn't mean you can run the query. You can fire your query in the direct query mode. Even in that case, it will fail. And in step 3, we tested the third scenario. What was the third scenario? In the third scenario, we have fired the query, but this is step B, and step A was we have used the import connectivity mode. We have used the import connectivity mode, and then we fired the query. It went fine. Now the question is, sir, the direct query mode, if the volume of the table is very huge, then you said you can use direct query mode. Now here you are saying that use import, but I'm using my query. In that query, I'm not querying the entire table data. Remember that. I'm not querying the entire table data. I'm just querying the subset of the data only. Okay. Hence, this is fine. Okay. The query works fine. But thing is, again, we are using import mode. The query, the query will get fire, the query will get executed. And then what happens is, yeah, I will just show you here one more time. I'll just go back to my, I'm talking about scenario 3. Don't get confused. In this case, I have used the import query mode, right? So the source is, and yeah, the source is which one? This is the one, right? Select, look here. The query, this is the query. I have used an import connectivity mode. Okay. Yeah, import connectivity mode. I just select the dim customer. Right click on it. It's an import query. View native query. Look here. It is querying this table only, right? So direct query mode. Look here. If I go here, dim customer, this is the customer data, and this is my query. Okay. In this case, this column comes from customer dimension. This column comes from my sales fact table. Can you see sales fact? It is not there. Okay. But if I go here, the customer dimension table, when I right click on it, view native query, and it generated the query here, right? And when I select this query to here, and here I can right click on it, I don't see the view native query. Okay. Close and apply. And then I just go back here. Yeah, query 2. If you keep the cursor over here, first name got linked here. And because I did not use the customer ID there in the select list. In this select list, I did not use customer ID. Okay. Let's go back to our discussion. Your first name is there. The sales amount. Yes, this is your first name. and then the value here. Column 1. So what value is that? A decimal number? Yes, it's the first name is a text. And here in this case, I will just first name. It shows me customer wise who bought which one. Yes, Sumit, I will increase the font size. Don't worry. Next, what I do is I just go to the view button. This advanced one, but we have a performance tuning session. That time I will explain it. At this moment, you just watch what is happening. Okay, don't rationalize everything sometimes. Copy query. And then what I do is I just go to a notepad. I'll just paste it here. And this is the one is happening. Evaluate, summarize columns. It is using something like this. Calculate sum of query to everything. Okay. Sum of column 1, order by. Any of this is too early to discuss. I'm going to stop this one. To summarize what we discussed once again, I've just tried because I covered the advanced part. Usually I don't cover this one. One is we have used the import mode. For which table? The customer dimension table, dim customer, and we've used the direct query mode for sales fact table. Okay, sales fact table. This one was working fine, no issues. Okay, scenario 1 was through. Scenario, or let's say the step 1. Okay, and in step 2, what we did? Actually, step 2 is nothing but scenario 2. In this case, I've used the query. Apart from using the import and direct query, we have another option. You don't have to import the table or you don't have to load the table with direct query mode. You can simply use the query also. That is also possible. But if the query is a little complex, it will not work if you use the direct query mode, because the direct query mode has some limitations. For example, you cannot split the columns, you cannot create index. There are some limitations. Okay. So in that case, in the case of direct query mode, if our query is complex, it will not work. Or if the query is very simple query, which other to the direct query related guideline, then it will get executed. Okay. But in our case, we tried the scenario 2 with the direct query mode. Our query was not working fine. Okay. And in scenario 3, what I did, I've used the import connectivity mode. Okay, I removed the table, the sales fact table. Removing the table will not remove our headache. Okay, so removing the table will not remove the headache, but still you need to specify, even if you use a query, you need to specify as a direct query or import connectivity mode. If you specify direct query mode, it will not work. In scenario 3, we have used the query. We use the query. Okay, and we specified the query and then we use the import command. In this case, it was working fine. It was pretty fast. It was working, right? It was working with import mode. A direct query mode, you cannot do complex transformation. This is advanced part. You can watch my video, how I enable the performance to the performance analyzer alone. You will refer it later point in time. Later point time when I cover the performance tuning, that time if you refer this one, you will be able to understand. To summarize, once again, you can connect to SQL Server using import connectivity mode. That's the default connectivity mode. Interview question. The second one is direct query mode. Also, you can connect it. If the volume of the data is very, very huge, then you can go for the direct query mode, direct query connectivity mode. Okay, there are situations we want to. Is there any way? Let's say your customer is instead of loading the tables one after other, is there any way that I can write my SQL query? I can submit it in my Power BI desktop so that the query will be sent to your SQL Server database, and there it will get executed. The output will be sent here. Instead of loading the tables one after other, can I write a SQL query wherein I can use more than one tables and then I'll file, and also I'll implement all the complexities. That is also possible. But that is also possible. There is a caveat there, or so provided that we can, that is possible, provided that you are not supposed to use a direct query mode when you fire a query. When you use a direct connectivity mode, when you fire a query, what is happening? Due to the limitation, it is not working. What limitation? The query mode, right? That group by is not working. Okay, group by is not working with direct query mode, because of which it was throwing error. Okay. All right. So now you understood how to use this one. The next one is I just